Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am here. I just realized I missed a meeting that I thought was happening at 2 o'clock my time, but instead was 9 o'clock. Really get frustrated with East Coast meetings and changing the time zones. And so it just added to my general funk that I am in today. So hopefully working on some French knots while I'm here with you guys will help a little bit. Hey, Philippa, good early morning to you. Hi, Kat. She said, I am hard at work finalizing everything for my launch on Friday. I'm so excited for you. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but hopefully things will fall into place in time. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. It is when you're pushing towards that deadline for this big push of something, whether it's a website launch, a new store launch, an open studios, any of that kind of stuff. Your brain just gets that tunnel vision that you have to focus on, and everything else goes to the side. And then suddenly something will pop in, and you're like, I forgot, or maybe I didn't forget, or maybe I should have done this. Just you're so close, Kat. Just roll with it and enjoy. Your pictures have been absolutely stunning. Hey, Michelle. Hi, Joanne. Let's see. I have stuff growing out of the back of my head. I should have at least moved those things. I'm not gonna shoulda, coulda, woulda. Michelle says, I'm finally working on a larger garden piece. How lovely. You are so welcome. She said, Kat says, thanks for the encouragement. We have to encourage one another because I have a shadow on my face. You know what? It is what it is today, because the alternative today is to kind of curl up into a little ball and have a good cry. And I don't want to do that. Hey, Sue, because there's anything wrong. Well, okay, there's one thing wrong with the construction, and that's got me very nervous. But I think this is the post Open Studios crash, and I'm just kind of dancing around stuff, not really. I have deadlines, and I don't feel, it's not that I don't feel motivated. I don't know. I don't know what I feel. I don't know what's going on. So that's when I don't know how to feel and what's going on. I think and I've changed this view. I don't know how many times. It doesn't want to hold. I don't want to zoom so much. We don't definitely want to zoom me. Let's see. I have changed so that everybody could see this a bunch of times, and I guess that'll have to do. I can't get the lighting right. It's a nice cloudy day. The lighting should be fine, but evidently, I don't know what it looks like on the other screen. On the program I'm using, yeah, my husband just walked in with some lovely chai for me, and that will be a nice little boost. Hey, Hexy. How are you today? So, yeah. So here I am. I got French knots, and they are actually more green. I don't know. Does this look darker green? Because it's not as light. If I do this, I block some of the light. Yeah. Can't do it. It is what it is. And with that note, I'm just going to make some French knots, because at least that makes move me going forward a little bit. Yeah, the construction issue that I'm very, very worried about is that the stucco guys got stucco. It looks brown. Yeah, see, I think I can't use the program that I've been using anymore, and that's really disheartening. I don't think that's going to make anything any better. Let's see. It's weird. It's not even changing the stuff that it should be changing. I don't know. I'm just gonna let it go. I have to let it go because I can't figure it out right now. And there's some things art-wise I can usually let things go eventually. It doesn't happen right away, but eventually. The house stuff, because it's out of my control, I'm not doing it. Light green, okay. Blue to Philippa. Well, oh well. You know what? Let me tell you, it is darker green, gray green, yellowy green on a gray green piece of wool. And, yeah, because when I change it in the program I'm using, it doesn't show me on the screen. It just shows me local. I have my hair is stuck. See, and I changed this too, so that wasn't going to be. This is weird. All my stuff is strange. Now, I'm sure it's happening on my end, Cat. Looks more green now. But see, this thing shouldn't be. My overhead camera should not be in. This is so strange. Okay, if I come over here, I shouldn't have to adjust that. We'll try. Yeah, I can't do that anymore. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit more there. Okay. All right, just deep breath, have some chai. Our little shop here in town makes the best chai. Well, you know what? It can be a sea of blue, a sea of green, a sea of brown, but what it's definitely going to be is French knots, because this was a scrap of wool that I love stitching with. It was a color of yarn that I love stitching with, and it was already on the hoop. So that made it very easy. I have to do more components next week. I will probably be making my little balls or maybe some pom-poms because I need lots and lots of those. What's the story with the stucco? Well, the stucco got us my brand new brick planter box that they built us, that is absolutely gorgeous, that I can't wait to plant into, is no longer absolutely gorgeous because the top row of bricks now has gray stucco on it. And we're waiting for one of the guys to get here to see if he can scrub it off with a wire brush because it's still fresh. And if not, there's going to be an absolute breakdown over here. We've already expressed to the contractor that it will have to be fixed, and he agrees. But it's just one of those, we don't want, you just want things to go smoothly. And I suppose we're lucky in that there's not been anything super major yet. But one of the things that was recommended was muriatic acid, which I know from doing the research will absolutely destroy the bricks and leave a different color. So I know it will get fixed because I trust our contractor. But I told him, the stucco guy should have to pay to. If we have to raise the height of the planter box by putting another row of bricks over it, it wouldn't have been so bad if I didn't know all the work that the masons did brick by brick to make sure that we got the look that we wanted. So yeah, disappointing is exactly what it is.
He's doing just wire and water first.
Okay, so my husband told me the guy is here now doing wire and water. So after the live stream, I will go out there and see what it looks like. Because the trouble is, if they scrub it too much, it's going to turn all red. Did you explain that to Jesus?
Yes.
Thank you. Philippa said, I have extreme trouble photographing my works. Camera doesn't like vibrant colors. Yeah, that's often something, a lot of people deal with. Joanne said, don't worry what color it shows. Thank you. And for Michelle, the multicolors are showing up now. So, it's just that kind of a stress. And then I was looking forward to my weekly art meeting after this at 2:00 my time. And 2:00 is next week's time. Today's meeting was actually at 9:00, which I could have made and still made my training. I'd moved my training session and I didn't need to. And I missed the meeting because I just had the wrong time. And so I'm very frustrated with myself because that's all my fault. Sue said, I don't enjoy the process of photographing my work. Me neither. I hate it. I end up with a whole bunch of photos that I mostly can't use, and then I forget to delete them, and then I have a bunch of garbage I've got to sort through. Kat says that's what I've been doing today, taking final product photos and editing them to be as true to color as possible. It's really hard because it depends on what color space the platforms are using, the different monitors are using, your camera are using. I can get something that looks perfect on my phone, and then when I upload it, it looks completely different. So yeah, that's my grump. So tell me what you guys are doing, what's getting you all excited today, what you're looking forward to. If you're in the US, are you starting to make Thanksgiving plans yet? Oh, and if you didn't see the post at the beginning, I I have chapstick on and those little bits of hair that keep flying in front of my lips and getting stuck in my chapstick. There is a sale going on my website right now. I have discounted everything 25%. You have to use the coupon code SAVE25, and that will take 25% off in your cart. And yeah, because trying just to generate some more cash flow because, said construction is still going on. Yeah, Philippa says you can do perfect at your end, and then we see it different because of our settings. Yeah. Thank you, Joanne. She said, sounds like you're going through life changes. Flow with it and accept it as something you're supposed to learn. Maybe patience. Yeah, I could always learn more patience, more lessons in patience, because I'm not sure I ever have enough of it. Although, we're in month 6 of construction, so I think we've been pretty patient with regards to that. But we are getting closer to the end line. Sue said, I've been taking apart flannel receiving blankets I made when our daughter was having her babies to make them into a single larger quilt for them to use to cuddle under on the couch. Oh, what a great idea. That's fabulous. I'm also thinking I'm disjointed because fall is native planting time. That's the best time to plant our California native plants. And so we're, here we are into fall, rain is coming. There's so much I want to do in the yard. And this year, I finally can, because for the last few years, I wasn't physically able to do a lot of that. And so, there's just like all these ideas are going, well, one, it's, time, because then if I'm doing stuff in the yard, I'm not stitching, but that's okay, because it's good to work on other things. But also there's so much construction stuff still all over the place that I can't get out there and do the things. So we can talk about it, and my husband and I can kind of say, yeah, this is what we want to do here, this is what we want to do there, but we can't do it until they finish the deck and everything else is out of the way. So that's kind of frustrating. I bet it's a puzzle, Sue. Do you have the quilt top started, or are you just right now taking things apart and kind of in the beginning stages? Joanne said, we like to schedule and plan things the way we think they should go, but sometimes we have to let go and accept the change. Yeah, and it's rarely easy. Rarely easy. Michelle said, Sue, I love taking apart fabric. I lucked out when I went to the thrift store last week, and they had a big, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 yards of a very thin gray wool, which is perfect background fabric for stitch. And I got it for like $2. I was very happy. Yeah, Joanne said it's not easy for me. It's not easy for me either. I mean, I know, a couple months from now, we're going to look back and say, look, we made it through all this, and we've done, it's not our first rodeo with regard to construction. I know I get like this at the end of these big projects. My brain is disjointed. I'm just tired. I'm tired of not being able to concentrate because one ear is always focused on what's happening outside. Then you go out and you check all the time, and you can't really settle down into that good flow space. Sue said, I ended up cutting off the hems to speed up the process. There's not much of any one print. Oh, I began with one receiving blanket top that I'd pieced and am building around it. So you're making a puzzle without having any idea what the picture is on the box. Those are always wonderful challenges. Thank you to all 8 of you who are here hanging out with me. Quite a far cry from what we used to have. Oh, well. Sandy said to tell you all hello. It is her husband's birthday today, so Big Daddy is getting a little bit of celebrating happening, and she is cooking for the family and doing all that good stuff. So we are all anticipating a great big storm that's supposed to hit later tonight. And I am very glad the windows aren't going to leak and the roof is not going to leak. Michelle said, Susan, is there months of work left outside? I think it's probably going to take us to the middle of next month. Maybe not. maybe they'll work faster, but I have no idea what's going to happen with the painting. I know that the stucco has to cure for at least 3 weeks. And after that, I have no idea. There's stuff that he could paint now that isn't stucco, but I don't know if he's going to want to come out in between. Yeah. So if that has to wait 3 weeks, well, that's taken us, to Thanksgiving. And it's just really frustrating to think, yeah, he said it would be nice by Thanksgiving, but I don't think we're going to make that. I mean, he might have the decking done because I think he can do that now that the stucco part's done. Sue said she's working intuitively, my favorite way to work. And I bet you already have a plan, right, for those hem sections that you cut off. I can already picture this long scroll, sewing them together and doing something fun with them. Sue said, we typically have a big storm the week of Thanksgiving. I'm no idea what's in the forecast at this point. Well, from what I saw is we're supposed to have rain tonight, rain tomorrow when I have to go out and drive a couple times, and then showers, but not really bad, I think, on Friday. And then a few days of clearing, and then more rain comes back next week. But, all that's subject to change because, of course, that's just what Mother Nature does. Joanne said, I went through the weekend with no heat in 20-degree weather. We got heat yesterday. Oh, my goodness, Joanne, that's scary. Yikes. I am glad that we do have the gas fireplace. So of course, we don't usually get that cold. But we can have heat at least. Stuff like that happens. Oh, Sue said the hems were only about 1/4 inch wide. I've saved one that I used a special stitch on the machine. I'm thinking to use it to tie up the quilt like a present in the end. Yes. Yes. As soon as you said they were 1/4 inch, I was thinking of ties as well. Also a tie around a scroll. Sue wants to know, how did you manage without the heat, Joanne? Oh, you had a heating pad and bundled up. Wow. Wow and yikes. I don't like to be too cold and I don't like to be too hot. I want everything to be like Goldilocks, just right. So, who is looking forward to a certain food for Thanksgiving? Anybody got something they can't wait to eat? Sue said, yeah, you can't get much done that way. No, with your fingers freezing, you can't work. Michelle said, not cold here yet. I'm still sleeping with my window opened a little bit. Wow. It's been getting down about 57 here at night. So not having it. I mean, we have the windows, the doors open as long as we can. Because I like that fresh air coming through. But when it gets dark, it cools down fast up here. And yesterday the fog came in so fast. It was really something to watch. Joanne said, I couldn't even write. The TV remote was too cold to work. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is cold. Wow. Sue said, our air quality has gone bad. I assume it's from people using their fireplaces and burning things outside. Yeah. I know we came in last night from our evening walk and could smell a fireplace going already. And that gets bad because ours is gas, so you don't have that smell. And, I understand, like the guy across the street, it's his only heat. But you want to tell them to clean out their fireplace chimneys. And the smoke gets so bad, sometimes we have to close things up even while we want them open because the smell comes into the house. This is one of those yarns I wish I could get more of. It's just such a wonderful variety of colors. It looks like I've changed threads multiple times and I just have that much left, and the gal's gone off of Etsy, so I guess she's not making dyeing yarn anymore. If she is, she's not selling it on Etsy. And sometimes I find that I go looking, it's like, okay, what am I going to put with it? And I get really frustrated because I don't think I have a yarn that's going to go with it. And my initial thought is I need to go buy more. And I know I don't. I know I just need to keep trying until I find something. So I have this. This is much brighter, but there's just a little bit of it in there. And I think it might make a nice accent. And although it doesn't, you can't see much of it on here, it does have a little bit of variation. Or maybe I'll just do everything. And I mean, right now I'm just trying to get big chunks of French knots that I can shape into hills and valleys. And I'm still playing with a couple of ideas on how to do paths a little differently. The water seems to work best with the split stitch. I haven't found a yarn that I like for couching enough to work with it. So the less split stitch I can do, the faster something will go. Yeah, I thought so too, Sue. Just enough, I wouldn't do big areas in the light, but I think in between some of these areas, in fact, I might go ahead and thread a needle. We can see what it might look like. Let's do that. Variety, that will be good, right? That will help me shake up my brain. And I don't know how this is going to stitch either, because it's I don't remember where I got this. Oh, wait a minute. Haha. So this is a recent purchase. So this must have been from yarn.com. Nope. This is Debbie Bliss Fine Donnell. So it's a wool yarn. Donegal. I don't know how you say that. And sometimes the slubby stuff doesn't pull through very easily. Do you have a yarn with some shimmer to it for water? You either go full shimmer. I think what I would do is probably go over it with a little bit of shimmery stuff, because no, I guess is the short answer. No, I have really shiny, like the rayon yarns, and there's no way I would do an entire big, stream or something with that. I have some ice yarns that I'm going to try a split stitch with. It's not as thick as I would like, but it's got a nice variegation of blues in it, and it does have a little bit of a shimmer to it. And then I'm going to try the fabric again too. All right, let's see what we think. We come up here, it might be too bright, but maybe not. It is going to be thicker to pull through. Yeah, rayon is a pain to work with. The only way I would ever do anything with rayon would be after something was done to go over for a few accents. Yeah, this is just going to bring out the yellow, which I think is a good thing. Can you guys hear this as I pull it through? It's because it's so slubby. It's got a really neat feel to it. I suspect I should work with short lengths of this because I kind of get the feeling that it will break easily. Let's see. I think I'm gonna scatter these. I think that might be it might almost be better to do after I fill it in with the other stuff, but let's see what happens. Because what I'm thinking, although it might not work as well, if I come like over here where there's a lot of the gray, yep, it's going to come through. Okay, good. I'm just going to do one loop of a French knot instead of two. Yeah. So I can just scatter this a little bit more just to get more yellow. And I might do this on an edge, use this color on an edge near where either the top of a hill, because that's where the sun would be reaching for the brighter colors, or perhaps near the water. And one of my long gray hairs is in there. So I love having the variety of yarns to play with. I know I'm very lucky that I was able to build such a stash, because sometimes you just want something a little different. And then sometimes, you know, on some of the other ones, I'm okay just using the same stitch or the same yarn. It doesn't need a lot of this. I just think where it's a little dark, it's nice to just brighten it up just a little. And this yarn makes French knots differently. So 2 loops, 2 wraps on the French knot with this yarn makes a bigger French knot than the other stuff. Hey, Barbara, how are you doing today? Hello to lurkers. Phyllis, if you're there lurking, hello to you. No, I only want 1 loop on these guys. Barbara had soul collage today. Did you have a good session? Did you find some good insights? All right, I'm just gonna let that stay up there, and I'm just gonna keep going over here with these guys. Sky's getting darker and darker over here. Just before it goes dark tonight, I'm going to go out and get some seeds spread. I don't want to put them out too early, because then the birds say thank you for dinner. It's funny to me, they've been all over the bird bath today, even though the storm is coming. So I don't know if that signals something to them that they should get all their water and bathing done before the storm, or what. Sue said, oh, I've also been doing what Amy McNee calls the 2-week reset. So far, I've done it every day. Ooh, so what kind of things are you doing? I think you told us a little bit about that, but I can't remember. Barbara said, yes, a dark one though. Did I tell you I'm printing out all of my soul collage cards with their writing and making a 3-volume book? How cool is that? Wow, to be able to look back through there and see the insights you've had over the years and where you are now with regard to them, that'd be fascinating. It's going to be some thick books. Is anybody else doing any challenges right now? Sue said, I'm doing a scroll surprise. I chose a color palette and 1 thread and raw edge applique, my small scraps for 15 minutes. Nice. There's something about that. That's one of the things I loved when I was making clusters all the time, is just taking all those little bits and then turning them into something. So much fun. Sometimes you start off thinking you're going to go in one direction with them and they surprise you. Barbara said, it is fascinating. Linda prompted me to do it when I told her they were all on my computer and she could peruse them whenever she wanted. After she went all blonde about that, she said to make a book. Yeah, much nicer to read them in the book. Plus, I don't know, just feels more substantial. Sue said, it's helping me to overcome my perfectionism. We can all use that. Every time you think Little Miss Perfectionist has left the building, she pops back up again, right? At least for me. Whoops, got a mess here. Yeah, Michelle said it sounds calming, Sue. Scrolls are wonderful. Scrolls are just, or any kind of a little patchwork with your leftovers, doodle cloth. You take some kind of a fabric that you really enjoy stitching on and just doodle. Just whatever stitch comes to mind, or if there's a favorite stitch, just do it over and over again. It's amazing. I look at Elizabeth Sullivan. Elizabeth Sullivan, is that her name? Yeah, Elizabeth Sullivan in Australia. Her artwork looks like a doodle almost. It's planned and yet it's not. I think the shapes are planned, but the stitches are not, and the way it evolves is just the things you love. You could do it by layering lots of fabrics together. You could do it with your fibers. If you can throw out the idea that you have to make it look a certain way, or you have to use a certain stitch a certain way, interesting things can happen. Barbara said, I just finished my first scroll, Sue. It's so much fun. Now I'm started on Lisbeth Deegan's 52 weeks of circle stitching. Yes, Lisbeth has some really great ideas with circles. Sue said, the only stressful element is the time limit. I've had to add length to the muslin foundation already. It's going to be long. Michelle said, I've done the cryptic stitching with little lines in different directions. Oh, fun. Sue said, that's something I want to do more of, Michelle. I think that's one of those things, whenever I see, and like clusters of seed stitches are another one of those things for me. When I see somebody else doing them, I love the look. I feel like all thumbs when I try to do it myself. I just don't like the way it comes out for me, but it's probably sort of like looking at yourself in the mirror. Barbara said, I'm going to make a short video of my scroll. I'll post a link to it when I've uploaded it. Yes, please. Hey, Sharon, how are you doing today? What's going on in your corner of the world? Michelle said, it's great, Sue. I copied from a YouTube video. Yeah, you get a lot of YouTube education, Michelle. You're good about that. All the hellos to Sharon. Barbara said, I'm just doing the single rows of running stitch on my scroll. Well, and I've added some of Jerry's dots and couched a piece of yarn down the center of it. Well, that's just it. You just need to start, right? It's another way of mark making. Some people pick up a pen and paper and start doing their mark making, and some of us thread a needle and start our mark making that way. Sharon said, hi, everyone. I'm good, thanks. Hope you are. Things are pretty quiet here. Well, the guys are on construction guys are on lunch break right now, so it's very quiet here too. But in the backyard, they're putting in, I hope, the last retaining wall we need. Well, the last wood retaining wall. Hubby is doing all the recycled cement retaining walls elsewhere around the property. And I really hope that next week they can start putting the decking down. I miss having and being able to walk out on the deck. Barbara said, also my scroll benefited from the recent Zen meditation workshops where one woman led some stitching mandalas right up my alley. Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to seeing that video. I added a half mandala to my scroll and it wows me every time I see it. Oh, isn't that wonderful when you do something and you just kind of go, whoa. I love when we can have that kind of reaction. We know that we were definitely working from our heart, right? We were letting nobody else tell us what's supposed to happen next. We were just doing the work that we were called to do in that moment. And today I was called to do French knots because I don't have to think as much when I do French knots. And sometimes, like if I'm trying to plan a project, that's good because my mind can wander. But also if I'm trying to de-stress, it's good because my brain can go all over the place and I don't have to corral it. It's like, all right, I'm just making one knot after another. I think the rest of the day, I'm not going to do French knots. I'm going to do some more woven picot leaves so that I have some nice little plants to put on the new stuff. Sue said, it's been interesting to me to discover things I don't enjoy doing that everyone else seems to love. Ooh, like what? And I know what you mean. There are lots of things like that that I see as well. Barbara said, this entire thing, Susan, wows me. I think I'll have to look for some wooden spools and make one of those sizes. Yes, yes. Spools look so great when the fabric unrolls and you have all those stitches. My long scroll that's hanging on a narrow wall in the studio, I don't know that I'll probably put it up maybe next to Open Studios, but it makes me happy every time I turn the corner. And they're not even things that I use anymore. It's mostly done with embroidery floss and pearl cotton and tiny needles that I don't use anymore. And it makes me happy every time I look at it, which tells me it needs to stay there for a while. Oh, thank you, Barbara. She said, I love the colors you've got in there. So restful. Sue said, I don't enjoy doing rows of running stitches. I don't particularly like making or working in circles. Yeah. Circles are not my motif. Neither are hearts. Hearts don't do it for me. And there's some things that everybody enjoys doing that I just feel like an absolute klutz about. I love the look of the woven wheel stitch, but I hate the way it frustrates me to do them. So I'm either pulling something too tight or leaving it too loose, and it just never quite comes together for me. Rows of running stitches, if they're supposed to be straight, do not make me happy because I can't go straight. It's the reason I can't make my own clothes. But random running stitches or just random stitches. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need another doodle cloth for the live streams. That might be something. I know when I did my last doodle cloth, I've just come so far. I've learned so much since then about what I like and don't like. Do not recommend doing a doodle cloth with a really tight fabric because, boy, it's not fun to stitch on. I don't recommend painting your fabric without diluting the paint because that's not a lot of fun to stitch on. Sue said, you can do my drizzle stitches, Susan, and I'll do your woven wheels. There we go. That's it. Let's outsource. Yeah, and a lot of times it's the stitches. Because I use so many components, or at least to get something the effect I want to use a lot of components. That's one of the things I've looked at my older work and said, okay, the next one I'm working on, instead of just using, one plant made of woven picot, I want to have like 3 or 4 of them. I think that's going to add to the natural feeling. Barbara said, I saw some pieces in someone's scroll online where they had woven some of the pieces they used. I really like that. Yeah, needle weaving. And that's something, again, a lot of people enjoy doing. I don't enjoy doing it. I like the effect when it's done, but I don't like doing it. Same thing with the Yorkshire buttons. I love the look, although they don't really work for me in my wildscapes. They do in other abstract work, but it's just kind of boring to me. Michelle said, I like couching because you can use many different things. Yes, that's the same reason I like couching. And it gives you the ability to use fibers that you maybe can't get through a needle. Kat said, often when a stitch frustrates me, I find a project that will force me to do that stitch dozens, if not hundreds of times in a row. It helps me to improve so I don't dislike it as much. I totally agree. That's how I fell in love with the bullion stitch. I just sat down and did so many of them. Let's see if I can move this a little bit. That it was just, it clicked for me. The woven wheels, not yet, but I also haven't done as many as I should. The woven picot, definitely one of those things. It gets better the more you do it. It's another, needle weaving. Oh, Barbara said the weaving I mentioned above was strips of fabric woven together, then used in a piece as its own. I can't remember. There was a while back, a few years ago, there was an artist that was really her thing, and I can't remember who it was. She did some really interesting things, weaving the fabric, and then she stitched on top of it. And there's a gal, another one whose name I can't remember. She tears little tiny squares of fabric and patches them together, and then does her embroidery, machine embroidery designs on top. Sue said, I want to do more needle weaving too. Barbara says, Kat, I probably wouldn't do that. I'm not that disciplined, Kat, said Sue. Yeah. Well, if it's something that you think you want to use more of, like and Kat, I'm sure the same way, I'm continually looking for stitches that are going to add. Hold on, folks, just a minute. Guys, I may need to log off soon. They're doing something on the brick that I may need to go check out. And I probably will feel better if I go do that rather than just letting my husband decide. Yeah, you know what, guys? Hey, Nancy, she said, I recently made a spool for a scroll from a heavy cardboard tube cut to length with 2 rings made from coconut shell. I bought these glued to each end. Wrap the tube in upholstery fabric. What a great idea, Nancy. Thank you. Yeah, folks, I think I'm going to have to take off. I need to go look at that brick so it doesn't make me sick to my stomach. Thank you guys for hanging with me. There is a sale going on the website, 25% off. Just use the coupon code SAVE25. And thank you for being here and being part of our creative circle. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.